For 7 years, Boko Haram has terrorised Nigeria's northeast. The group once controlled an area the size of Belgium, but its territory, including its stronghold in the Sambisa forest, has been shrinking as the army advances. And President Muhammadu Buhari delivered this Christmas message. He'd received the most gratifying news of the final crushing of Boko Haram in their last enclave. But independent journalists reported the area was blocked off and the government's claims could not be verified. And the group's leader, Abubakr Shekau, purportedly appeared in a video released the next day. That video message hasn't been authenticated, but Nigerian officials have said several times that Shekau has been killed. And that's raising questions about whether military action has actually crushed the group. Buhari entered office promising to defeat Boko Haram. And under his presidency, the military has intensified its offensive. In December 2015, he said Nigeria had technically won the war against the group, which is affiliated with Daesh. But Boko Haram continued to carry out attacks last year, and the number of victims from the insurgency keeps growing. The group has killed about 15,000 people. It's kidnapped women and children, including more than 200 schoolgirls from Chibok, although some have since returned home. And years of fighting has displaced more than 2 million people. With such realities, is it premature for Buhari to declare another victory over Boko Haram? Natalie Pohonen, The Newsmakers.
I'm joined now by Temitope Olodo in London. He's a counter-terrorism expert and author of Faith, Community and the Law. He's also worked for the British government and in law enforcement. Thanks so much for joining us, sir. So, just before Christmas Day, we had the president saying the last Boko Haram base was taken in Sambisa forest. He told the BBC Nigeria has technically won the war. He said the fighters were on the run. And, you know, everything seemed very optimistic. Was that correct? Was it presumptuous, or was it just propaganda?
I think using the word of Mr. President that is used many times, I think technically it is a bit correct. But I think it might be deemed by international viewers as being premature. For the local context, in terms of the local population, it's a message that people have been listening to. Well, for many analysts who work in this field, there's more to be desired, because the issue of Boko Haram and the issue of terrorism is a global war. And when you're fighting a global war, you need to look not just at the internal consumption information and law, but also the external consumption. What is happening in Libya? What is happening in Syria? How does the activities of Boko Haram feed into regional security issues? Those are the kind of information that need to be taken on board. And that more or less exhibits itself when, unfortunately, in less than 48 hours or a few days after, the pronouncement by the president, these individuals have come up again with another video, which the security agency said they are looking into to identify, the authenticity of it and where it was taken. But again, from my perspective, there are a lot of things, or a lot of questions that need to be answered.
Mr. Loda, you say there are many questions. One of the major questions I have, Abubakr Shekau, I've lost count the amount of times I've read reports that he's been killed only for him to resurface in another video. And of course, questions about who's actually running the organization. Are there two Boko Harams, one by Shekau, run by Shekau, and the other one run by Barnawi? What can we know and what do we know about their leadership right now, or is it all a mystery?
It's more of a mystery because there's so many leaders within Boko Haram. There's Boko Haram in that is moving around, that works in the government establishment. There's Boko Haram within government, within the community that feeds information to them. There's Boko Haram that are killing themselves with through suicide bombing. Boko Haram is all around. It's a faceless organization. So for you to say you defeat an organization that has many faces, you need to really understand what you mean by Boko Haram. And until the government is able to understand what are the drivers of terrorism in Nigeria and have an appropriate policy to address those drivers of terrorism and ensure that they decapitate, that, energy, that oxygen that is feeding the de-radicalization, then Boko Haram will continue to remain elusive and they'll continue their hit-and-run activities in the country.
Something that you just said there, first up, you said there's Boko Haram within the military or within the government. That just popped out for me. To what extent do you actually believe that Boko Haram has infiltrated state institutions? That's quite shocking.
I think it's important to understand that Boko Haram was tolerated for some time within the population where they were. And even if you look at what have happened in the last few days, after the president declared that the Ground Zero had been captured, 14 of their members were killed. Now, for 14 Boko Haram members to be killed, there have to be more than 14 that actually attacked the military barrack or its outpost that they attacked. So those individuals have absorbed themselves back into the community. Where are they hiding? Who are their brothers? Who are their sisters?
Okay, but that's the community. But you said the military. You said within the military. I mean, I'm asking you, within the government, do you believe that there are Boko Haram, I don't know, hidden agents or sympathizers that might be making it easy for them to survive as an organization?
I was listening to a press release why I'm proud to comment on this interview, and they were talking about the fact that one of the local Boko Haram suspected member, I must say suspected member, that was picked up, being accompanied by a local authority official. Wow. So there are people that are sympathetic to the Boko Haram cause, and we need to understand that. Just like there are people that are sympathetic to the Al-Qaeda ideology, there are people like that in the community. Now, do government have initiative in place to fish out those kind of individuals? We don't know, because Nigerian counterterrorism strategy is not in the public domain for us to know what kind of strategies are there and what kind of initiative communities need to use to identify these individuals. Until you have a counterterrorism strategy that is people-driven, it will be difficult for you to win totally the war on terror.
I remember covering the election, and President Buhari ran on the platform that he was a military strongman. He didn't mess around, he didn't play games, and he was gonna finally destroy this terror organization. So based on that metric, has he failed?
It has not really failed. There's still enough time. Boko Haram has never been eradicated anywhere in the world. There are 162 countries that are experiencing one form of terrorism or the other. And what Nigerian government needs to look at now is that what has those first 10 countries that have successfully dealt with the issue of terrorism, at least brought it down, done? At the moment, I feel they're working hard, but I think there's still a lot that needs to be done.
Sir, it's been a pleasure to pick your brain. Temitope Olodo, thanks for joining us from London.